Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. NWA Powerr is upon us again. Crcokett Cup quarter-finals in action this week, and a chain match between the Fixers, Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball Legursky. Now, those of you on YouTube and on Spotify will hear and see the fact that there is no NWA tag team partner, Miss Fiona Loughran, this week for two reasons. Reason number one, she is dropping off the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, at his hotel, ready for Sweet Chin Disco over the next few days, and ready for the Inside the Rope show that they're doing tomorrow with Mark. And secondly, and probably more importantly, once again, she has not been able to watch NWA Powerr. So she's not a very happy Miss Fiona Loughran, but you can watch NWA every week on the Roku channel. And if you're in the Roku channel, if you're US, Canada, and Mexico, if you're in any other country, you can watch it via VPN, unless your name is Fiona Loughran, in which case you cannot watch it. Hopefully, she'll be back next week. Very frustrating time for a big NWA. She's a bigger NWA fan than me, guys, and I can know that it's really irking her right now. So it's worse because we've both got the same VPN, and mine is working and hers isn't. So hopefully, Fee, you're back next week. Right, let's get into the action. Now, we had promos to start with the finals of the quarterfinalists. In the tournament, we had Mondo and Slade's promo, we had the Cologne promo, we had the Knox and Murdock promo, and the Daisy Kill and Talos promo. Now, Talos, on the other hand, you'll be able to see his interview with us on Tuesday, and it is a very revealing interview. More revealing because of what he said, not because of what he's wearing. Come on, people, seriously. We did also have a really good recap of last week when Jay Bradley attacked Wrecking Ball Legursky with the chain backstage. If you remember that, there was a promo last week, and that led into what was an absolute war between Jay Bradley and Wrecking Ball Legursky. This match started in the aisleway before they were even chained up. As Jay Bradley was coming down to the ring, Wrecking Ball joined him, and there was a fight in the aisleway. This was just an all-out brawl, a hoss fight, or should I say, I called it a fucking hoss fight because it literally was. This was just hard hitting. They just was kicking the crap out of each other over this. We had them getting choked over the top of the ring, or the ropes, sorry. There are chairs in this. Oh, they was hardly in the ring in this match. It was crazy, in a good way, of course, if you like this sort of thing. There was Vader bombs onto chairs. There was everything in this match. It was incredible. A really solid way to start the show, and a nice break because obviously being the Crcokett Cup, a lot of this is all tag team matches. So to have a singles match in there, thrown in there just for a good measure is actually very, very good. And to have a singles match thrown in there like this, where they're just kicking seven bells out of each other, using weapons and chains like they should be in a chain match. It was very, very good watch. However, it was Wrecking Ball Legursky that picked up the pinfall with a big splash, a good old big splash. Takes me back to the days of the Ultimate Warrior in there. Big splash. It was very close. Jay Bradley was to kicking out at that. I wasn't sure whether he did kick out before the count of three. I'm going to have to watch it back on Roku to see if he did, but it was a very close call between the referee counting three and the kick out from Jay Bradley. But nevertheless, Wrecking Ball Legursky picks up the victory in a hellacious chain match. What's next for the Fixers? We'll just have to wait and see. But it doesn't look like they're going to be getting back together anytime soon. That I would say is a guarantee. Now, they did recap last week after this stuff with Thrill Billy and Mims in the watering hole. Remember, Thrill Billy was kind of saying to Mims, hey, you've got the the championship, and he could be cashing in before Thrill Billy gets his title shot, which we now know is at NWA 77. They just taped NWA 77 at the weekend, by the way. Very, very good. So there's an interesting bit there as to whether Mims will get an opportunity at the World Championship or whether we'll hold off going for that and perhaps waiting until after 77 or whenever his lucky 7 opportunities. We were discussing this last week with Fee and saying it must be soon because he's won quite a few matches with that championship now. So he must be getting close to cashing in or being able to cash in for his lucky 7 opportunity. Maybe in the next couple of weeks on Powerr, we'll be able to see and find out if that is going to be the case. I'd like to see it. I think Mims and Latimer would be a fantastic match. Certainly would be one I would be wanting to watch, that's for sure. But we now move to the Crcokett Cup quarterfinals, match 1. And this is Daisy Kill and Talos versus the Colons. And noticing in this one that Talos was limping throughout the match. So maybe an injury picked up there from Talos. And I think he did get an injury in the weeks before, in the show before when they last fought in their tag match. So looking like Talos wasn't in a good way in this one. And it certainly hampered Talos's in-ring power that he normally has because he was having to put a lot of pressure on his leg. And the Colognes, being great wily veterans in there, were certainly utilizing the fact that he was limping. Now, what I would also say in this is there seemed to be a little bit of, shall we say, issues between Daisy Kill Talos. Daisy was shouting at Talos a lot during this match, and I'm not sure whether we're bringing more into this than what I need to, but dissension in the ranks between Daisy Kill Talos. What it seemed to be, anyway. That's what I would say. They were trying to end it early on this, but every time that the Colognes were trying to, the Daisy Kill Talos were trying to end it early because of the injury to Talos in this. And we had a break. There was a break during this match where the Lost, Jim Mitchell, Alex Misery, Lev, and Crazy Steve were there, and they're going to set the NWA on fire. Probably literally knowing those guys. A good promo between those. Jim Mitchell's addition into Lost is very interesting. Gags was there as well. I'm sure Fiona was really happy when she sees Gags on the TV. But setting the NWA on fire is going to be an interesting one for the Lost. And then we move to the Thrill Billy and Hammerstone next week on Powerr. That's going to be big old men slapping meat. I'm going to enjoy that one next week. That's going to be an incredible match. But they've done a promo, both of those two. Really looking forward to that one next week. Thrill Billy and Hammer are going to hammer it down next week on Powerr on Roku. We come back to the match and, it went on for a bit longer, this one. Maybe a bit longer than what I thought it was going to do with Talos' injury. But nevertheless, the backstabber frog splash combination from the Colognes, picking up the 1, 2, 3, and thus bringing them in to the semi-finals of the Crcokett Cup. A little bit of an issue that I had with NWA this week was basically doing the same promo at various different parts. What we've liked about NWA recently, especially since the move to Roku, is that it's done a lot of recaps, which is nice. And it gives a lot of it sort of an introduction. What I'm finding a little bit hard to watch is the constant going back to the same promo. We were seeing the Thrill Billy Hammerstone promo a couple of times during this one as well. And it just, and the Crcokett Cup promos, we see it at the start, we see it before the matches, and it's just like a little bit, I think it's a bit overkill. We don't need to see the same promo over and over again. We get the gist that it's the Crcokett Cup, and we get the gist that these teams are in it to win it. We know that they're promoting Thrill Billy and Hammerstone for next week, and that's fine, do that. But it's just too much, just too much. And then they had like a list of like 4 promos in a row. And it ate up like 8 to 10 minutes of a program, which you could have had another match on there. They done the recap of the Immortals and the Slime Balls. They done a Slime Balls promo seeking revenge on the Immortals. I don't know why the hell they would even want to try and get revenge on the Immortals. You then had a video package of Hammerstone and Thrillbilly again, and then Team Exodus. CeeLo was preaching, and EC3 was on there. Pretty Boy Smooth was on there. Obviously, great to see them. But I just felt that like these whole promos took up a quarter of the program this week. And for me personally, it was just too long. And it wasn't the end of the promos either. There was more during the main event, which we'll get into. So I think something that the NWA need to work on for future episodes is not too much of it. It's nice to see it, don't get me wrong, but there's a point that where it becomes too much. And four promos in a row was just not needed. And again, when you add it all up together, a quarter of your show, which you could be putting towards another match, would be far better, for my opinion. Anyway, just my opinion. Don't know if you agree or disagree. Let us know. But let's get to the main event. Probably one of the unsung favorites of the Crockett Cup, Mondo and Slade. And these two guys work so well together. Mondo with the size and the stature for a relatively smaller guy. I'm not saying I'm not saying he's small by any stretch, but against Knox and Murdock, he looked like a midget in terms of height, but he looked bigger build than them. And Slade, who's just one of the most complete wrestlers in the NWA. There's not many people better than Slade in the NWA. I will tell you that factually. That's for sure. Mondo was doing his best Taz impression in a 2300 arena with a towel over his head as he was coming out on this. This was a good main event because this was a lot of power was involved in it. Don't excuse the pun, but Knox and Murdoch, very powerful, very slug in the ring. They don't like it. They don't want it to be a technical match by any stretch of imagination. It's not catch as catch can. It's literally catch and beat the shit out of with Knox and Murdoch. And I enjoyed it because it was over, and it was kind of their power over the technical ability and speed of Slade, but also with that power something of Mike Mondo at the same time. And I swear, Mondo gets bigger every time in terms of size, bulkiness, that every single week, these two, he seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And again, halfway through this match, we had the same promo. We had Colby Carino's promo. And just to touch on that, you can still donate to Colby Carino's GoFundMe. Obviously, a very serious injury sustained by Colby over the last week or two, and he's going to be out for quite some time. So, again, if you can donate to Colby Carino, the GoFundMe is on the page. If you can't, please share it and see if we can make sure Colby can get the financial support that he needs, especially during this time. But he's done a promo anyway because he's going to be coming up on the Crockett Cup for the World Championship against Rhino and Latimer. So, interesting one there. Back from the break on this, and again, you see bits and pieces in here as to why Mondo and Slade make such a good team. Their teamwork is fantastic. It's like they've been together years, and they really haven't. And that's also, testament to how good these two actually are in the ring as a single. But the experience factor does play into this, and Knox and Murdoch hit the high-low on Slade to pick up the 1, 2, 3, and they reign supreme. And the favorites for the competition are in the semi-finals of the competition. It was a very good week on Powerr. Really enjoyed it. I am really looking forward to next week's NWA Powerr, with the fact that it's going to be the Frillbilly against Hammerstone next week. Crockett Cup semi-finals as well. So that's going to be really, really good. But coming up also on the channel in the next few weeks, it's hell. Well, not hell, but it's great because we got Exodus Pro Takeover Part 2. Merciless Lloyd Cruz is coming on ahead of the Exodus show in October. La Princesa Tiffany Nieves, NWA multiple-time champion. She's coming on. Former Exodus Pro Women's Champion will be on. Taking a break from Exodus and bringing you Slam Stars as well. These guys are making a board game of wrestling, which is going to be really interesting. So they will be on as well as J-Rock from Exodus Pro, the man that's going to be taken on the NWA Midwest champion Dante Casanova at Exodus, and Gannon Jones Jr., one half of the Exodus Pro Tag Team Champions, who was in action at Watch the Throne against Pretty Boy Smooth. He will be on the show in the coming weeks as well. And finally, Buckle Up Free. Our joint promotion show with Ignite will be September the 21st. Go to Go Eventbrite, hit Buckle Up Free and the tickets, and you will be able to get some of the last remaining tickets to see the likes of WWE Tryout and NWA. Someone that impressed very well, sorry, at the NWA, Will Cruz. He'll be there. The Ultimate Geezer, Tommy Tanner, will be in action. As will Best in Show, Gene Money, Alexis Falcon will be debuting. She'll be taking on our champion, Aluna, for the Hit in the Turnbuckle Championship. And the absolute twat. Charles Crowley, the amazing, the incredible Charles Crowley will be in action as well. And that is Buckle Up Free, September the 21st. We're going to be seeing, and at Buckle Up Free, you will also see a TikTok star, the guy. Of course, if you wrote the theme, if we wrote the theme, put that in Spotify. David Bartholomew and Will Scar. Well, Will Scar from that team, from those guys, will be joining us at Buckle Up Free. We're so happy that Will Scar is going to be joining us to that, and maybe a few other famous-ish faces will be in attendance as well. But guys, this has been the NWA review. Big thanks to Talos, like I just mentioned. The interview drops on Tuesday, so take a look at that. Hopefully next week we'll see the return of Miss Fiona Loughran to this Powerr episode. And until next time, everybody, though, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.